Welcome back, y'all, and happy Sunday. This is the Bluechip Breakdown, and I'm your host, Bull. Hey, listen, I'm sorry for this thing getting started late. I literally started doing this stream in a completely wrong place, which is why we got started as late as we did. But obviously, we are here to recap Tennessee's loss to the Florida Gators in the SEC championship game. And, it was a game coming into it. You always want to win, especially whenever you're playing for an SEC championship. But they told us before the game even started last night, it was like, well, it really doesn't mean anything. Tennessee is going to end up with that number 2 seed. So we're pretty much just playing for pride and obviously also playing for that trophy. This is a Florida team that, like we said, they're really good. I mean, they look like the best team in all of college basketball at this point. And, for me, I think that Tennessee maybe could have found a way to win, but it would have been really, really tough. And it's even tougher whenever the SEC referees are just horrible. And I don't call for people's jobs, but I think that you might want to consider looking at all those guys, because every single crew that Tennessee's had for the past month, whether it's in the SEC tournament or not, they've all been absolutely horrible. And I think that it's been bad calls for both teams every single game, but it always feels like it goes more in the favor of the opposite team as opposed to Tennessee. There's absolutely no reason that we've got two of our starters are getting fouled out. And then we've got actually almost 3 or 4 of them were in foul trouble. They only had one more foul left to give. That's crazy, dog. Like, this is the SEC. You know that we play physical basketball. You can't call ticky-tack stuff. And my biggest issue with it is that they're getting it wrong. It'd be one thing if it's, hey, this is a foul. But I feel like Felix he gets more phantom foul calls than I've ever seen anyone get my entire life, probably combined. And, there's no reason that he's getting foul calls, and he's not even near the daggum basketball. Like, he's 3 or 4 feet away from where the play is actually happening at. You just call on him because he's Tennessee's biggest player. Like, I don't know if that's what it is, but, yeah, like, they're not seeing the game. They miss a whole lot of travels. They're always getting out-of-bounds calls wrong. And it's one thing to get it wrong sometimes, but whenever you're doing it consistently, like you're consistently choosing the wrong side, what are you looking at? I don't know if they are I don't know if they're capable of operating and actually being able to ref these games. I hope that no SEC referees get to do it in the NCAA tournament. I don't know how that works, but if they, do, then hopefully we don't get them. Let some of these other conferences see how horrible our referees are. And if you're making a bracket, which I'm sure most and all of y'all probably are, look out for the games that have SEC referees, because they're going to mess the game up completely. All right. And I'm not saying that that's why Tennessee lost today, because I don't think that it is, but y'all understand where I'm going with it. It's extremely frustrating. I'm sick of seeing it, and something needs to be done about it. And while I'm going off on this rant, I think that we need to make sure that we move our tournament up one more day, because there's no reason that this game means nothing. If you want for the SEC tournament to mean something, Sankey, then move your tournament up in time so that the people that are picking the teams can see us win the championship. I mean, that type of stuff makes a difference, right? It's so much stupidity going on, and I'm sick of it, man. I'm ready to get into the NCAA tournament, and there's a lot of stuff for us to talk about with this game. I'm gonna get to some of these chats though, because I know that y'all have a lot of things to talk about. And again, listen, that is my fault that we got started late. I clicked on the totally wrong link, and I was talking for about 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying? I was talking to myself. All right, but this right here is from my dog MG Way saying Belichick. He was a liability for us all tournament long, and especially in this game. Florida shut down our bigs and really escaped something, and really exposed something that has been there all season long. 100%. That's something that we will talk about today as well. I feel very strongly about that. And I can tell everyone this right here, right now. Our guards played well. Our guards played well enough for Tennessee to win for the most part. There's some things that they need to clean up too. But our bigs is what let us down. We don't even really have that much depth at that spot. That's another part, that's hurting us too. So yeah, that could be a problem for us all tournament long. But like I said, kind of coming into this, keep in mind that Florida is playing like the best team in the country. We just beat the number 1 ranked team in the country yesterday. So it's not like Tennessee is some bad team. I think that most of us get that. But Florida is just a really bad matchup for us because they have so many bigs that can do a lot of different things. They can stretch the floor. They do a good job down in the paint. We don't do a good job of getting boards versus those guys. And, we have to be a lot more physical and all of that. But I think that if we could maybe start, let's say, if we see Florida in the NCAA tournament, then what we would have to do, I think, is try to start the game off getting their bigs into some type of foul trouble, get them out of the game. The same thing that they basically were able to do to Tennessee. Let's try to flip that on them. And then I think that we can go guard for guard with them. I feel fine right there. Let me get to some more of these. Also from MG Way saying that our Our rebounding was atrocious. 100%. Yes, I just said the exact same thing. And Quez Mitchell is saying, great game. We just got in foul trouble too early, and that he likes that we had this type of game before the tournament. Yeah, I feel what you're saying. I think that's an excellent point. For me, I'm happy that we got to see this for a couple of reasons, but it also does kind of, with how physical Tennessee had to play in this game, it worries me a little bit. Like, dang, do we maybe wear ourselves out just to taste more than we would have had to? Because this game, essentially, for the NCAA tournament, it didn't really mean anything anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like one of those double-edged swords, and it's probably never going to be 100% on either side. But you got to kind of take the good with the bad. And I like that you're looking at this glass half full. And I'm not super down, y'all. I thought that we could win this game, but I'm not super down that we lost. I'm more so frustrated with the SEC as a whole. I mean, the freaking referees are terrible. The whole tournament format, the dates is messed up. Get that stuff fixed. Help us out a little bit more. All right. And then also coming from I Bleed Orange, saying I thought of it after the game. Rick Barnes had multiple teams that could win a championship. Grant Williams' team in 2019. Well, it was loaded in 2018, and last year he could never get the job done. So when you say win a championship, do you mean like an SEC championship? I'm not going to sit there and say that Rick Barnes just can't. I mean, like, look, this is the SEC tournament, y'all. Yeah, it's a cool thing if you win. But for me, I don't want to say that it doesn't matter, but it really kind of like doesn't even matter. Because I don't know who won the SEC championship last season. I don't know. I don't even care. Like, who won the national championship? We all know about that. I mean, that's what matters to me. And if Tennessee wins the national championship, we're not going to care about losing this game. So Rick Barnes is doing it. I don't think that this is like a Rick Barnes thing. Honestly, I don't personally. That's not how I look at it. I think that Rick Barnes is a very, very good coach. But actually, let's go ahead and pull these stats up. How about that? How about we just go ahead and get into these stats? We can start kind of talking about some of this stuff. And then I'm going to get back to the chat here in just a minute because I know that y'all have a lot of things to say. So let's talk about number one thing that I do feel like Tennessee could do a little bit better job of. We can look at how many shots we took. So we took 49 shots, about 45% from the field. And Florida took 61 shots. Okay, there were 42, almost 43% from the field. They took a lot more shots than Tennessee did, right? So we can see that right off the rip. Like we talked about with the rebounds, Tennessee had 25 and Florida had 39. So they got 14 more rebounds than us. That's a huge problem. As far as the free throws go, we shot 32. We only made 25 of them. That's 78%. And then they shot 28, but they made 25 of them. So 89%. The free throw shooting, we've got to be a lot more consistent with that. So I was disappointed to see the way that we kind of came out there. As far as turnovers go, we had 9. And I think, Florida had 8. So, blocks, we had 5, and Florida, they said Florida only had 1. They had 6 steals. We had 7 steals. So, I mean, our defense was really better. And it was several times when, as y'all saw watching the game, when we stop them, but we don't get that miss. They get their own miss, and then they're able to get second and third and fourth and fifth chance points. We saw some of that versus Auburn too, and we found a way to still win that game. But you can't live like that. Like, we got to get more rebounds, and it's not from our guards. Our guards did a great job. They have been doing a really good job. Our guards carried us from top to bottom. The bigs have got to step up. They've got to do more for us. So we will go through this, and we're going to actually start this one off with Jordan Gainey because he had a phenomenal game. I think 24 points is his high at the University of Tennessee. Played excellent inside, outside whenever we need it. He's the one getting it, going to the basket, trying to slam it in people's faces. That's the type of dog that we need playing a guard. So him stepping up like that, you love that moving forward for this NCAA tournament. That's beautiful. I love what he did. Defense also looked very, very good. Doesn't like he got any turnovers or steals, nothing like that. He got 1 steal. So that is excellent. But yeah, just overall, really, really great game from Gainey. He almost brought us back. You know what I'm saying? We were getting real close with Jordan Gainey. So proud of him for that. Now let's move on. Let's start off with Felix Akpara. So he finishes the game with 6 points. He had 3 blocks. His defense is always really, really good. He only had 5 rebounds. That's not horrible. He actually had a nice pass. Was that to, I think that was to Phillips. It might have been to somebody else, but that was a really nice pass. Things like that. That's always good. But like we had touched on to kind of start off, I want to see our bigs be able to actually, score down in the paint on a consistent basis. Seems like on his first catch of every single game down there, he's so quick to try to throw that hook shot up. And sometimes that's going to fall. But what I would much rather him do is don't even, I mean, yeah, try to score, but draw some fouls down there. Like, this is crunch time now. We need for you to, just like how everybody be bodying us up, body them up. You know what I'm saying? Body them up, draw some fouls, and help us out from that perspective so that we can start shooting free throws early. I think that that would probably be a lot more beneficial, because I doubt that his game is going to get exactly to the point that I would like for it to be in the post, just with his offense, coming up in like a couple of days. So, but I think that he played okay. Obviously he got in foul trouble really early, so he couldn't play as many minutes. Or actually, he played 33, which I'm actually I'm surprised at that. I wonder if that number is correct. But either way, we could talk about Iggy. He got into foul trouble. He only played 18 minutes today. So, he also had a case of the fumbles. Obviously, he comes out, hits that three. That was huge. Need for him to keep on shooting with that confidence. Need for him to keep on trying to drive with the confidence. All the things that we talk about after every single game. Need for him to keep on doing those types of things. But need for him to get more rebounds. 1 in 18 minutes, not enough. It's not enough. You're gonna have to get more than that. You're gonna have to do more than that. And I'm gonna need to see more fight out of you, so that we can win some daggone ball games. Like, he needs to be able to impact us with different things. He needs to be able to be an actual big and not just some scoring threat. And he's got to take much better care of the basketball. I think that they have him right here with no turnovers, which I know that can't be right, because I feel like he had one really bad one. But, just like carelessness with the basketball, we got to minimize that as much as possible, especially with ZZ, who had a really good game, 23 points, but he also had 5 turnovers. So just that carelessness with the basketball, he's got to cut that out, man. Like, what that needs to end today. Today was the last day for that type of stuff. All 5 of his turnovers, I thought, were pretty bad. So he can do a much better job from that perspective. But he got 5 rebounds for us. That's huge. He also had 8 assists. So he's doing a good job of getting the ball, moving it and all of that typically. But sometimes he does try to get a little bit too cute. And if he can minimize that, then his team is going to be a lot better for it. Next, we'll talk about Chaz. He had 11 points tonight. Obviously, he got fouled out, which definitely sucked, because, that came towards the end of the game. We didn't need that. Actually, he got his 4th foul. Maybe, I don't know, it was kind of early on in the second half. And then, we had to leave him out till like 6 minutes left. I think he came back in, and almost as soon as he got in, he gets fouled out. That was another just absolutely phantom call. He doesn't touch a single solitary soul, but whistle blows as quick as possible. That's one of their guys. We got to get him off the court ASAP. We can't have Tennessee with any sort of a chance to win this thing down the home stretch. That's how it felt to me. But yeah, I think that outside of that, he's doing a really good job playing very tough defense, just doing a lot of things that doesn't necessarily always show up inside of this box score. But yeah, I'm proud of him. How many rebounds did he end up with? Only 1. He probably would have got more if he played, maybe a little bit more. Well, he played 23 minutes. But yeah, I think that he's doing fine. I think that he's doing a very, very solid job. Now, Meshack, he's another one. He only dropped 1 point today, but on the one that he scored, it was off of a drive to the basket where he drove hard. He knew that he was going to, get that foul call, got to the line, made 1 or 2. Need for him to just calm down, shoot your shots. You can make them. Also really want to see him find his shot from the outside. So he shot 2 threes. Just play with confidence, bro. I mean, that's all you got to do. Just play with confidence, and you can hit those looks. You're going to keep on getting them. We just need for you to hit, man. Just hit 1 or 2 of those every game. That's all you got to do. Even just one, just hitting 1 of them, that's going to open things up for Tennessee as we're going throughout this tournament. And that, again, I'm going to keep on saying, that's what matters the most to me. I want for us to make it to the Final Four. And really, I would take making it to the Final Four, maybe even over the SEC championship. Personally, I would. So that's what Shaq did. He also fouled out, as we know. You know what I'm saying? Just a lot of just ticky-tack bad calls. As far as Cade Phillips goes, he finished the game with 3 points. He's got to get, I don't know if his hands are maybe like a little bit smaller. I feel like he fumbles the basketball almost more than anybody else on this team, maybe more than anybody else on this team. He's got to do a better job of holding on to it. He's got to squeeze it. All right. And that would help us out in a very major way. So he only finishes the game with 1 rebound. He played for 17 minutes. I know that he can do better than that, but a lot of the stuff that he does doesn't really show up inside of this box score. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that he played his best game tonight at all. He missed. He was 1 of 3 from the free throw line. Need for him to be a lot more. Need for him to be a lot more consistent shooting. From that stripe for sure. And as far as Bishop Boswell, he got in for 5 minutes. It feels like we don't even want to pass him the daggone basketball. Now, I don't like that. Like, pass him the ball. Pass him the ball. Let him shoot. You need to. We're gonna need him. Obviously, as y'all see, like, we need for him to have some confidence. So like we don't need folks ball hogging and stuff. If he's wide open for a corner three, make the right basketball play first. Make the right basketball play first and let him get a little bit of confidence heading into this thing so that we can win. But I think that this defense is really good. I actually would have liked for him to maybe played a little bit earlier so that he could have guarded, that Walter Clayton guy, let him get some minutes there. Let him take up some of those fouls there. And then some of the other guards that, are vets, we can have them for, fresher and with less fouls down the stretch, in daggum crunch time. But we got to let him see the court just a little bit more. I don't understand that. And we already talked about Gainey. Had a great game. And then I think that D-Stone Dubar finishes with 5 points. And I love the fact that he's going down to the basket and trying to score there. But he also, for a pretty decent spurt, maybe about 5 or 6 minutes worth, he's having to guard bigs, guys that are like 7-footers, and he's only 6'6". I think he did a very solid job there. So hopefully that will help him to get a little bit more confidence and understand that he's a bigger guard. You know what I'm saying? So whenever he's faced up against those guards, they shouldn't be able to score on him, and he should be able to score on them at will just because he's strong in them. Body those guys up. But that's pretty much it right there for all of my thoughts. I just think that, again, this is a game that I didn't, I thought that Tennessee could win it. I'm not shocked that we lost. Florida's a really good basketball team, but there's still some things that we could take away. My biggest, I would say, most positive takeaway is that our guards are definitely playing at a championship level for the most part. Clean up the things that you can clean up, turnovers and, hitting your daggone free throws. That would help us out in a very major way. But if our bigs just take that next step forward, and if they can play with a little bit more consistency, I don't necessarily want to say with more effort, but maybe a little bit more effort, not even just getting to the basketball, but hold on to the basketball. Like, how many times do we get to the ball and it bounces off of our hands? I don't understand that. There's no reason that basketball is pretty doggone sticky. Grab the ball, hold on to the ball, snatch it away from other folks, play physical. If you get called for fouls, make them some good fouls. If we got these little guards that want to drive to the basket and get cute, bro, if you know that you're probably going to be fouling them, which you should understand that in certain situations, you know that you're going to have to foul them, put their butts on the ground. We got to be a lot more physical with that. It should be a no-fly zone. People don't even want to drive on Tennessee because they're way too physical down there. I want to see more of that. I'm not saying that we got to get flagrants and hurt people, but we need to, I think, intimidate them just a little bit more. But that's it for my thoughts right there. And we will. We're going to take a look too at how the bracket looks with the bracketology and all of that good stuff as well. But let me get to some more of these chats here real quick. Which ones did I miss, or where am I at right now? Okay, so I think right here with Adam Fowler, we're going to get to yours. Thank you for joining us. Saying that our defense was awful this game. I don't understand how they play so good against Texas and Auburn, and then against Florida, the defense just looks bad. Well, I mean, look, Florida's got a really good offense. Like, I think that's the best offense in the entire country. It's tough to stick with those guys, and they've got a lot of people that can shoot. They've got the mismatches because of the size. You got to kind of, if Tennessee has a mismatch with a guy that's 5 or 6 inches taller than us, we got to crash down and help them. So that leaves their guards wide open. Their guards made some really tough shots. I mean, they can shoot. So I wouldn't, I wouldn't even say that our defense was horrible. I wouldn't say that personally. I don't think that it was maybe not as good as it could have been. It wasn't perfect, but it was probably on the same level as it was versus Texas. I mean, listen, Florida would beat Texas by like 30 points. You know what? They just beat Alabama last night by how many points? Was it like 20? Was it 30? And Alabama just beat somebody by like 30. So I mean that's a really good team. Tennessee didn't get killed by them, even with most of our best players getting in foul trouble. You got to give a little bit of grace to our guys now. I mean, I know I'm a little bit hard on them, but I don't want to be overly critical by any means because that's a tough team. All right, so from Blockhead saying it was a tough game, still proud of my Vols for sure. And listen, I know the Vols still proud of them. I know it. I know that everyone's proud. For my dog Timmy G saying that the baseballs look great. Yeah, so they were actually losing. I was like, if we lose to 2 Florida teams today, I'm going to be absolutely sick. But they ended up pulling it out. You know what I'm saying? And actually, in yesterday's game, they ended up run ruling them. So I think that we're 20-0. I didn't get to catch the end of that game because I started the stream and all of that. But thank you for bringing that to the channel as always, Tim. And from Dwayne Mitchell saying that what bothered me about the officiating is calling fouls away from the ball for touching the player and not calling obvious fouls on drives. Gainey was hammered several times while driving the lane. Exactly. And that's the other part of it is that, if you're going to call off ball fouls, why aren't you calling it whenever Chaz Lanier is just getting hugged. He's getting held. He's getting mugged. Every team does it, and we rarely ever get those calls. It seems like it takes for Coach Barnes to say something to the refs about, man, look, you got to watch him holding on to Chaz. And then they kind of start to call it more like in the second half. He needs to start the game off and say, hey, we've had some problems. We've had some issues with players wanting to hold on to Chaz. It's something for you to watch out for. Like just kind of throw it out there, put that bug in their ear early on so that they'll start calling it. But yeah, I can't stand the off-ball foul calls, especially on guys that are already in foul trouble that mean a whole lot to this team. You know what I'm saying? And you're not going to call whenever people are getting destroyed driving to the freaking basket. I don't get that. From Obsolete Orange saying that both, regardless, mainly the NCAA tournament, we all know what will happen. We'll lose in the second and third round. I mean, you might think that. I don't know that that's going to happen. I have confidence. I have faith in this team. I think that we can win it. I think that we can do some nice things for sure. I'm not too concerned. I think that we've got everything that it's going to take, especially for these first couple of games. Tennessee is going to be just fine. And look at these cowards coming in here. Y'all won't win it. Well, guess what? Y'all asses ain't going to win it either. Y'all going to end up losing to somebody too, just like y'all typically do, man. Y'all got a very good team. Y'all have done this same song and dance before. Now I have more faith. I have more confidence that Tennessee's going to, make it to the actual championship game than I do Florida. I do. I think that y'all are going to get upset early. And I hate to give away some of my bracket secrets, but I think that y'all are going to get put out early, man. And why is because y'all have too many floppers. And that stuff has worked for you in the SEC with some really bad refs. But once you get to some of these other refs and all these other conferences, they ain't gonna just be calling that like five. He's soft, dude. He's super soft, and he gonna flop and do all that type of stuff. He ain't getting those calls all the time. If y'all get matched up with anybody that's physical with some good referees, y'all are gonna lose. Because I think that y'all are soft. I do. I think that y'all need to get a whole bunch of foul calls and things like that. Now y'all can shoot. It's something else. I'm not against fouling. Closing out on some of those guys that want to keep on hitting shots, deep. Foul them one good time. Make them think about it. I'd start the game off early with one good hard foul. I don't care if they make it or not, because now they're going to think about that for the rest of the game. Close out, just start closing out on them hard after that. Are you going to make it? Are you going to focus on the shot? Or are you focusing on me closing out hard? I would be doing stuff like that. See, y'all, that's like East Coast basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like old school basketball where you're going to make them earn it. You're going to have to be a real dog. I don't know if the Florida's really got dogs. I don't. Y'all got some very skillful players, but are they dogs? No, I don't think so. Most of them not. All right, so also so he's talking to him. All right, so we're going to make sure that we don't talk to him too much more. All right, so let's get to MG Way. Saying that Auburn won the SEC tournament last year and lost in the first or second round. Maybe that happens to Florida. Hey, same thing that I was just saying, man. I didn't even, I didn't even care who won it last season, but let me try to get some. Let me try to get some more of these news. I see y'all going back and forth right now inside of the chat. Let me see. Do we have any more for some people that's talking about something? Okay. Yeah. So right here. Okay. So I see that y'all doing a whole bunch of back and forth. Hey, man, get him. Yeah, but now you know what? I ain't gonna hold you, man. Florida does have y'all have a very good basketball team, but I wouldn't be afraid of seeing y'all again. I think that I think that Tennessee could maybe pull it out. All right, so I do want to pull up the bracketology. We're gonna talk about that here real quick, and then I'm gonna probably get on, man, and try to get me a little something to eat. So this is what I think that this might have came out last night. It might have came out this morning, but this is updated. So right now they have Tennessee moving up to the 5th overall seed, which would put us as the number 2 seed in the Midwest, and Houston's the number 1 seed over there. Looking at that side, I don't even know. Like last night, whenever they said that Tennessee is going to end up in this bracket, I was like, okay, this might be a little bit better for Tennessee. But seeing it now, I don't even know. I think that there are some teams over here. This might be a little bit tougher than if you go back up to the East, which is where Tennessee was at before. If you go back up to the East, all you got over there is UConn, Ole Miss, who we lost to. That's really it. Maryland's pretty solid, but that's pretty much it for me. And I've actually watched those teams play. Obviously, Alabama, we would be there and not Alabama. We would basically be like flipping spots. I think that I like that one better. And Duke is good. Obviously, Duke is really good, but I'd rather be able to get to see Duke without having too many really, really tough games in the tournament. They're all going to probably be tough. Most of them anyway, but I think that y'all get what I'm saying, right? Like some of these games, like the matchups, I think that we got some tougher matchups actually in this Midwest. So I wanted to throw that out there. And as far as where Florida's at, where we we couldn't have, I would say that we could have gotten that, but obviously this game wouldn't have mattered even if we won it. So over there, Creighton's pretty solid. I think Michigan's okay. They've got some tall guys. I think they've got a couple of 7-footers. One of them I think is pretty good, but I don't think he'd be a problem for our guys personally. He's not a shooter or anything. He's just a straight up post guy. Who else? I would say maybe Gonzaga. You know what I'm saying? Like I think they're usually pretty decent in the tournament, and then St. John's. So pretty decent side. And then if you look at where Auburn's at in the West, and I know a lot of folks don't want for Tennessee to have gone out west because we want for the fans to be able to show up to the game and all that type of stuff. I don't know that is going to make that much of a difference in basketball like it would for football. I think that our basketball fans are good. They're good in spurts. Obviously, we're going to show up and all that for our team, but I just don't know if they're going to make that much of a difference. Now, it could ultimately end up impacting the game because I think that the fans would get a little bit more into the game if if there's some other fans there for the other team that are being loud. I think that our fans will try to fight back with that and help our guys out. At least that's kind of like what I'm hoping. But I think that the best thing would be for Tennessee to get the easiest draw of teams wherever we have to play at as possible. And to my knowledge, I don't think that we have to go out west just yet. I think we're going to get a couple of close games or, relatively close games. And then as we get further into the tournament, that's when I think that we would go out west, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, just kind of like looking at this side over here with Auburn, not really seeing too many teams that scare me either. I know Clemson's supposed to be pretty good. I'm not worried about Clemson. Really, all those ACC teams are pretty trash except for Duke. They're all pretty much nothing. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't see any other teams over here that really concern me. Arizona's pretty good. Obviously, they have Tobe, and they've got a good guard, but I think that we can handle that. You know what I'm saying? I think that we could. I think that we match up very well versus them. But either way, we're probably going to end up in this Midwest, and we'll figure out for sure here in a few short hours. And all right, so I guess I got to get to this one right here, man, from Bando. All right, so Bando for $4.99. Thank you for the super chat saying that Florida is 5-1 against Tennessee, Bama, and Auburn. All right, so I'll tell you what I am going to do is I'm going to play the super chat clip for you. Let's play that one more time, just to let them hear one more time. Music to my ears, Bando. I know that you love that song, sir. But thank you so much for that super chat. Thank you for chiming in. And yeah, so it looks like we just swept y'all in baseball, didn't we? That was pretty quick. Y'all was overrated right there. But I think that's pretty much it, man. I see that y'all going back and forth inside of the chat and all of that. So all in good fun. But yeah, we will be back with you. Actually, we might do another stream after we find out exactly where Tennessee's picked at. If y'all want to come back and kind of chop it up about that and talk about how those matchups look, I'm gonna see if I can get my nephew to come on this one with me because he really knows. Like, he's been watching all these teams. He knows them better than I do because he wants to make sure that he wins his bracket coming up here in a few short days. But that's gonna be it, y'all. Please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll probably see y'all here in just a minute. Thanks. Peace.